All right, man. So happy Friday, man. We made it through week 6. And for the most part, checking in with you guys in our Zoom meetings. You're doing pretty well. So I'm super proud and super happy, that you guys are maintaining, man, and that you're staying focused and, you're making the best of it. You know what I'm saying? That's what we got to do in this situation. You know what I mean? We got to always find the positive. We got to search for it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got to count our blessings in this time, man. We still have the ability to see each other, and at your homes, your parents, they're doing the best they can to maintain the provisions for you. And yeah, man. So I'm just really blessed to have you guys. So anyway, happy Friday, week 6, day 3. More inequalities. Let's jump right into it, man. So number 1, right? So number 1, it says solve for x. And we know, just like we did before, I think in the last video, maybe Thursday, yesterday's lesson, we kind of talked about this a little bit. But, let's go ahead and write it out. 5x. And then what symbol is this again? All right. Hopefully you guys said less than 10. All right. So we're going to be talking about, like, what these symbols actually mean, right? But we're going to solve for x. And, just like we did if they had the equal sign right there, we would do 5x, divide. We got to divide, do the excuse me. Oh, I'm belching. Do the inverse operation, right, on both sides of the symbol, right? And now we're left with x is greater than 10, okay? So on Monday, when we talk about graphing, right, this basically says that any number that is greater than 10, x could equal. So in the situation, we could say, well, x could be 35 because x is greater than 10. So any number greater than 10. All right, keep that in mind as we go further along to the second half. All right, so number 2, so that would be x is, I'm sorry, I'm writing 10 right here, you guys. Hopefully you were telling me, no, Mr. B, no. That should be 2, right? Because we divide 5 fits in a 10 2 times. Thankfully, you guys were telling me that. So that would be letter B. Okay, that would be letter B. It ain't a good day if Mr. B don't make no mistakes, right? All right, number 2. It says solves for x. 3x, right? 3x plus 2 is greater than 8. So we know we have to get x by itself, 3x by itself. So that means we're going to do the inverse operation, minus 2. So we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. And that's going to give us 6 and then 3x. And just like we did in this problem, we're going to divide by 3 on both sides. And it looks like we're going to get x is greater than 2 yet again. X is greater than 2 yet again. So that would be C. All right. So far, so good. All right. Number 3. Let's do number 3. Number 3 says solve for x. We have 3x minus 7 is now less than 5. So again, whatever we do right here, we got to do it to the other side. So we need to get this 3x by itself. So we're going to, that's right, we're going to add to both sides, right? We're going to add 7 to both sides. And that's going to give us 3x is less than 12. Now, just like we did over here, right, with these situations, we are now going to divide by 3 on both sides. And we're going to have x is less than 4. X is less than 4. And when we take a look at that, that is C. So again, we're saying any number that is less than 4 could be considered x, right? And we'll do that probably with some word problems later on. Not in today's lesson. We do have some word problems coming up, but not particularly like this, okay? All right, so far so good. We just banging them out, you guys. All right, number 4, solve this inequality, right? And so we know we are very familiar with these. So we have 3 times 4 minus y is greater than or equal to, remember that little symbol means equal to 9. So here, just like we would do before, we got to take whatever's outside and times it by everything on the inside and keep the symbol, not unless there was a negative there, but there isn't. So 3 times 4 is 12 minus 3y is greater than or equal to 9. Okay? So here's where we have to like really pay close attention to what's going to happen here, okay? Because the symbols are going to change, and I'm going to show you what I mean, all right? So we have 12 here, so we have to do minus 12 on both sides, right? Because this is originally positive, so we have the minus 12 on both sides, right? And that's going to leave us with negative 3y is greater than 9 minus 12 is negative 3, okay? So far, so good, right? So far, so good. So now we have to divide by 3 on both sides. But not just 3, we have to divide by negative 3. And anytime you divide by a negative number or a negative variable, anytime you divide by a negative number or a negative variable, the sign switches. We have to transfer the sign. Okay? So what that means is we're going to do this. Divide by negative 3 on both sides. Okay? And that's going to leave us with positive y, but since we divided by a negative, our sign now switches. So it's no longer greater than, it now becomes less than. Okay? And then this right here, 3 fits into 3 one time, and the negatives go away. So that's going to be y is less than or equal to 1. Y is less than or equal to 1, and we see that, and that is going to be B. Okay? So again, whenever you're dividing by a negative number or a negative variable, which is basically like saying negative 1, we have to always switch our signs. All right? If you have questions about that, just hit me up. Okay? All right. Number 5. Moving right along, you guys. Number 5. All right, looks like we're going to do more inequalities with this. And it says, please reference the video for more understanding of this set of questions. If you need help, please email me or have your mom or dad call me, text me, whatever. Okay? All right, number 5. The question says, to ride for free on a bus, a person's age must be over or must be 65 or over. So 65 or over. So let's just write that out. I'm trying to make sure I can see this. 65 or over. Okay? Ted can't ride for free. So Ted can't ride for free, so he must not be 65 or older, right? So Ted can't ride for free on the bus, and Ted is 8 years old. Which of the following is correct? So if we know that Ted cannot ride for free, then he must not be 65 or over, so he has to be less than 65. So if we look at those, we see 2 that have less than and 2 that have greater than, right? And this is telling me that he has to be at least 65 or over, and he's not. So A has to be less than 65. So if Ted is 8 years old, 8 years old is less than 65, and that is A. That is A, right? So, yeah, man, that's pretty cool right there. That's A. All right, so hopefully you guys understand that. We got to read and think thoughtfully about the question. So we got through that one nice and easy, right? Nice and easy. All right, I'm going to turn my page over. All right, let's look at number 6. Number 6. To be a flyweight boxer, you must weigh less than 112 pounds. So less than, so we could say 112, right? We could write this, and then we could say less than, right? So you have to weigh less than 112. Timo weighs W pounds and is a flyweight boxer. So if Timo weighs W pounds and he is a flyweight boxer, that means he must be at least 112 pounds, right? So we could say that Timo is Timo is a flyweight boxer, and Timo weighs W pounds and is a flyweight boxer. So if he has to be less than right here, and he is a flyweight boxer, then it has to be W. W is less than or equal to 112. Less than or equal to 112. But let's look at that again, because I'm thinking that you must weigh less than 112. So, and it says Timo is a flyweight boxer. So he has to be, so that means you cannot be 112. So look, you see how we deciphered that? We got to think about this question and think about what we're saying. So you cannot be 112. It says you must weigh. Must. That means it's an absolute. So it's not this one. It has to be W is less than 112. So essentially you have to be 111 pounds or less. So that is D. That one is D. So when we think about these word problems, family, we have to really think about what it's asking us, because little words like that can get us tripped up, right? All right. Number 7. Moving right along, family. Number 7. The maximum weight allowed inside an elevator is 1,000 pounds. The maximum weight allowed inside an elevator is 1,000 pounds. If W is the total weight of the people inside an elevator, which of the following is correct? So the maximum weight. So that means we cannot go over 1,000 pounds. So we have to be 1,000 pounds or less. So we can have 1,000 pounds, not like in this question where you have to be exactly less than 112. We can have 1,000 pounds. So if we have something that is something or less than or equal to, then we have to put this symbol right here. So it has to be this symbol, because it says it has to be less than, or the maximum weight is 1,000 pounds, right? So now, and then we just put W, right, for the weight, because the weight can equal 1,000 pounds or less. 1,000 pounds or less. So we see that, and that looks like that one is letter B. All right, I hope this is making sense to you guys, okay? All right, moving right along, number 8. The greatest value of a prize in a draw is $500. The greatest value of a prize in a draw is $500. Jason enters the draw and wins X dollars. Which of the following is correct? So the greatest value, so we can't go over 500, but he can at least win 500, right? And so just like we talked about right here, we can't go over 1,000, but it can be 1,000. And so in this case, we might need to use this symbol, right? Because it says the prize money, the greatest value is $500. So Jason won X amount of dollars, so he could have easily won 500. He couldn't have won more than that, so we don't need this symbol, right? We do not need that symbol. So it has to be 500 or less, right? And if X is that, then it's X. X is less than or equal to $500. All right, pretty simple on that. Pretty simple. Good job. All right. Oh, and that was letter C. That was letter C. And I'm doing this because Holland Rule asked me to state the letters. So just for you, Holland Rule. All right, number 9. Number 9. The waiting time to see the doctor is greater than 4 minutes, but less than 10 minutes. Ooh, so we have something that we haven't seen yet. it is greater than 4 minutes, but it is less than 10 minutes. Okay? So we have to think about, what is this question asking us to do? How is it asking us to describe this in writing? The waiting time is greater than 4 minutes, but less than 10 minutes. If Joe waits T minutes to see the doctor, which of the following is true? So we know that we're going to start with 4. So it has to be greater than 4 minutes. So we want to write down, because the way we read this, right? If we write it like this, it's greater than 4 minutes, right? And then T, right? This is actually saying that Joe waited more than 4 minutes, because the T is pointing to, like, 4 is greater. So it would say like he waited more than that amount. So we can't write it that way. We have to say that his weight, if his weight was T, right, it had to be less than 4 minutes. So let's see. The waiting time, the doctor, is greater than 4 minutes. Okay, so we're saying that, right? So T is greater than 4 minutes, because 4 minutes means it's smaller. So it's greater than 4 minutes, right? And then it's less than 10 minutes. Okay? You see how we read that? T is greater than 4, but it is less than 10. Does that make sense? T is greater than 4, but it is less than 10. So greater goes towards T and less than goes towards T. So that's why we write it like this. So if we were to write it this way, his weight was greater than 4 minutes, but it was less than 10 minutes, that would be totally confusing, right? So the symbols always have to go in the same direction. They have to go in the same direction. So we would not write it this way. We have to read it out like this, because whatever this points to, remember, that's the smaller thing, right? So his weight was greater than 4 minutes, but it was less than 10 minutes. And that is letter A. Okay, that is letter A. All right. And we are done, you guys. Whoa, that seemed like that took like 30 seconds to get through. All right, number 10. Here we go. Last one for today, family. For the week, rather, and then we'll start fresh on Monday. Number 10. The length of the rectangle is greater than 5 centimeters, but must not exceed 10 centimeters. So let's read that again. The length of the rectangle is greater than 5 centimeters, but must not exceed 10 centimeters. So when we see that must not exceed, that means it can be 10 centimeters, right? It can be 10 centimeters. If L centimeters is the length of the rectangle, which of the following is true? So just like we did right here, right? We know it's going to be like this, because it says L would be in the middle. L is greater than, the length is greater than 5 centimeters, right? So remember, 5 centimeters, it's pointing to that. So L is going to be saying that it's greater than, L is greater than 5, right? But it is less than or equal to 10. Because it cannot exceed 10, so it can be 10. So it's L is greater than, this part means that it's greater because it's bigger than 5, but it is less than, because the point is pointing towards the L, it is less than or equal to 10. So we look at our answers, and that looks like that matches D. That matches D. And we are done. We can drop the pen. Boom. We're done. All right, man. Well, good work. Next week, it's going to be a little different. So please use the video again next week if you need to. But I just want to say, as always, man, I appreciate you guys for working really hard and doing your work and doing it again until you get them right. The more you do that, the better you'll be. But just know, man, Mr. B loves you and he misses you. And, you know, I just can't wait to see you guys as 7th graders you know, in charge of the building. All right, so anyway, we still got some time for that, but next week, I'll see y'all. Peace.